Hi everyone, this is Fortnon from Superuser projectile. Today I'm going to show you how to get a wider selection of apps on your Chrome OS device using Linux apps. So with Chrome OS, normally everything runs in the browser. Like you use web apps, things like that. But there is also another way of doing things besides, the Play Store or something like that. And that is using Linux apps. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So the first thing that you want to do is go over to your time and then click on the settings gear. This will take you to your settings menu. Now you go to apps. Then Linux, you click turn on. And then you click next. And you can select your disk size. I wouldn't make these too big, but you want it a reasonable size. So if you're storing files on your Chromebook, you might want to make these smaller, but you also want it big enough for all your files. And then you want your username right here, and then you click install. So when you get done, you will be presented with this terminal window. Well, it might be a little bit different depending on your version of Chrome OS, but you can close the settings window now, unless you need microphone support, and then you can turn that on here. You can always change the disk size afterwards, so you might want to make it bigger than you think you will need at first. Anyway, you will now be presented with this window, and so we can start our work. Now actually, the first thing that I recommend is that you restart your Chrome OS device. So we will see you when it's restarted. Okay, now we are back, and so we can close the browser, and then we can go to our apps. We can click Linux apps, and we can click terminal. It will open up this window, and then it will start the virtual machine. Okay, it is now ready here, and so we type a command to update our Linux virtual machine. So this will be in the description, or you can just copy it from here. And now let's let this do its thing. The time that all this stuff takes depends on your internet speed and various other things. Now that that command has completed, we need to reboot again. And this command can be run anytime you want to update these apps that you are about to install, but you want to reboot after that. So we are just going to reboot our device again. So now we want to go back to our terminal. And then we can start installing stuff. So now is coming the fun part. Okay, so to do this, you want to type sudo apt install. And then you want to type the names of your packages separated by a space. So I will have a whole bunch down in the description, but I'm going to do LibreOffice, GIMP, Inkscape, and you can add more if you'd like. Now at the end, you want to do -y. So you want it to look like this, but with your own package names depending on what you want. Now you press enter and wait for this command to complete. I'm going to install one more thing, which is mono. Okay, so that is still installing, but I can show you the other stuff. So now if we go to our apps, if we go to Linux apps, we can see we have a whole bunch of stuff here. So let's start off with LibreOffice Writer. So you can use Google Docs, of course, but if you want an actual program installed on your computer, you can use LibreOffice. So this is an office suite, and it's a Linux app, and we have it running on our Chrome OS device. And so we can just use it here like a normal word processor. It's kind of similar to Microsoft Word. And yeah, so that is our first app that I installed. So I will have many more in the description, but these are some of the highlights. So we also have Calc, which is a spreadsheet program in the same Office suite. And then we also have GIMP, which is kind of like a Photoshop program. It is an image editor, and unlike Photoshop, it is completely free. So we will just let these open here. So it's up and running here, and so we can start editing our images. Let's test out the performance of this. And this is running in a virtual machine, so it won't get as good of performance, and Chromebooks aren't very powerful to start with. So you might not have the best experience using something like this. Let's just do a lava effect and see how long that takes. So the performance varies, and I also have the other installation running here for mono, and so that will kind of slow it down. But this is like worst case scenario, and this is running on a Raspberry Pi with Chromium OS. So, you know, it would be manageable for some things, but it's definitely not ideal. So if you are, you know, doing a lot of image editing or something, I would definitely use a different computer for it. But this is just, you know, if you're doing it once in a while and you have a Chromebook or something, then it would probably get you by. This is one of the more complicated things. And like I said, there's stuff running in the background too, so this is not as good as it sometimes would be. But there it is. So this is just like a render lava effect. Okay, on to our next program. We have Inkscape. And so this is a vector graphics program. And so this is actually what I use to design the thumbnails of my videos. So as you could see, there are other LibreOffice programs. There's one that's similar to PowerPoint right here. You can check those out if you'd like. Okay, here's Inkscape. And so we can do vector graphics stuff. So I'm not going to show you how to use Inkscape right now. I just thought I'd show you, you know, some things that you can do on a Chrome OS device. So yeah, there's Inkscape as well. And now this has done the mono thing. So with mono, you can run like .NET applications, you can run Windows Forms, you can run some Windows applications using Linux, which is actually using Chrome OS. So you won't get very good performance, but if you have a simple application, then it might work okay. So if we do mono, and then we can do our program name. The program needs to be an exe file and it needs to be saved Linux files, I guess it is. And so it needs to be saved there. And so then we just do enter and it will open up our app. And so we can use it here, and then when we close it, it goes back to here. So you will need to use the terminal every time you do one of these. But if you just do it once in a while, it's not a big deal. And it's not that hard anyway. So there are more things that will be down in the description. There are more apps that you can run, but I hope this tutorial has been helpful. And so you know, you can get a lot of your Chromebook if you do these. So until next time, we will see you next time. Subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.